Good morning, students. So, today we will start with the anatomy of male external genital organs. And male external genital organs will include the penis, the scrotum, the testis, the epididymis, as well as spermatic cords. Certain textbook mentions a spermatic cord as an external genital organ of male. But more specifically, we will deal with anatomy of the penis, scrotum, testis, and epididymis in the section of anatomy of male external genital organs. So, in today's video lecture, we will begin with the anatomy of penis. What is penis? So in this figure, yes, this you can see my cursor moving along the penis. If you have to define penis, you have to write that penis is the male copulatory organ or the male organ of copulation, which has a fixed part that is known as or called as root, a fixed part that is root, and a free part that is the body. So to define penis, you have to write that penis is the male copulatory organ which has two parts. The fixed or attached part is the root of the penis, whereas the free part is called the body of the penis. Now talking about parts, so two parts I already told you. The root, that is the fixed part, this is the root of the penis, yes, root of the penis, and this is the body of the penis. So we will deal with root of penis and as well as body of penis in separate slides, forthcoming slides. To define root, the root of penis, which is situated in the superficial perineal pouch. This is superficial perineal pouch, and the root is situated in the superficial perineal pouch, and it has two cruras. Yes, you can see in this figure the two cruras, whereas one bulb. So root of the penis has two cruras. These are the two cruras of root of penis, and this is the bulb. Now talking about crura. So each crura, the left and the right crura, each crura of penis is covered by a muscle named ischiocavernosus. What? Ischiocavernosus. This muscle covers the two cruras and is firmly attached to the margin of the pubic arch. You can see this muscle, ischiocavernosus, it covers the two crura and is firmly attached to the margin of the pubic arch. Talking about bulb, you can see bulb is covered by a muscle called as bulbospongiosus. What? Bulbospongiosus. So bulb is covered by a muscle named as bulbospongiosus, and you can see it is firmly attached or adhered to the perineal membrane. The bulb is attached to the perineal membrane. Urethra, the male urethra pierces the bulb. The male urethra, it pierces the deep surface of the bulb and transverses its substance to reach the corpus spongiosum. Corpus spongiosum body में deal करेंगे, body में study करेंगे. So the urethra, the male urethra, it pierces the deep structure or the deep tissues of the bulb of penis, and it transverses to the corpus spongiosum. And one more important, sometimes 2 marks question is asked, that what is intrabulbar fossa. So intrabulbar fossa is nothing but a dilatation in the floor of the bulb. Dilatation in the floor of the bulb is the intrabulbar fossa. ये इस फिगर में नहीं दिख रहा है, यहाँ पे एक डायलिटेशन होता है, दैट इज टर्म्ड एज इंट्राबल्बर फोसा, और ये डायलिटेशन जो है वो यूरेथ्रा में होता है, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज इंट्राबल्बर फोसा. नाउ टॉकिंग अबाउट बॉडी ऑफ पीनिस. So you can see this is the cross section of body of penis, and this is the whole external feature of body of penis. So body of penis is the free portion. I already told you that body of penis is the free portion of penis, and you can see it is completely enclosed in skin, or it is completely enveloped by the skin. Yes, you can see this in the cross section, that the body is completely enclosed by the skin. And ये जो स्किन इनक्लोज कर रही है, ये रूट से ही कंटिन्यूसली जो है वो कवर करके रखता है पूरा बॉडी पार्ट को, और ये बॉडी पार्ट को टिल ग्लैंस पेनिस, टिल द नेक ऑफ द पेनिस, ये स्किन जो है वो कवर करके रखता है, और वहाँ पे फिर वो स्किन फोल्ड हो जाता है, जो कि प्रिप्यूस फॉर्म करता है या फोर स्किन फॉर्म करता है, वो भी हम आगे बाद में बात करेंगे उसके बारे में. नाउ टॉकिंग अबाउट 3 मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट कंपोनेंट्स of the body of penis: the two corpus cavernosum, and the one corpus spongiosum. So in this figure you can see these two are the corpus cavernosa, and this one is the corpus spongiosum. Corpus cavernosa is in continuation of the two cruras of the penis. You can see in this figure the corpus cavernosa is in continuation, or the forward continuation of the two cruras of penis. Yes, and this corpus cavernosa will not reach the end, will not extend till the tip of the penis. It will terminate, this corpus cavernosa, each corpus cavernosa will terminate under the cover of this glans penis, under the cover of this blunt conical structure, or the head, or the glans of the penis, or glans penis. And this is in this figure you cannot see the tunica albuginea. The tunica albuginea is a strong fibrous capsule which surrounds the corpus cavernosa. So it is not it cannot be observed here in this figure, the tunica albuginea, which encloses if you asked in 2 marks question what is tunica albuginea, you have to write that it is a strong fibrous envelope which encovers or surrounds the corpus cavernosa of penis. Now talking about corpus spongiosum, you can see corpus spongiosum is the forward continuation of the bulb of the penis. Yes, the forward continuation of the bulb of the penis is corpus spongiosum, and its terminal part will extend. The glans penis, I already told you, the glans penis is nothing but the broadened terminal part of this corpus spongiosum. So the broadened terminal part of this corpus spongiosum will enlarge in a conical shape and forms the glans penis. And throughout the length of this corpus spongiosum, urethra is piercing from the base of the bulb of the penis along and transverses across the length of this corpus spongiosum to open at the urethral orifice at the glans penis. Now the base of the glans penis, this is the glans penis, and you can see the base of the glans penis. This base of the glans penis is termed as corona glandis. It has a projecting margin. You can see this is these are the projecting margins of the glans penis, which is called as corona glandis, and it covers the neck part of the penis. It covers the grooved constriction. This you can see a slight constriction as you can trace the whole length of corpus in spongiosum. You can see here just at the level of glans penis there is a constriction, and this part of the penis is called as neck of the penis. And at the neck of the penis, the borders, the basically the projecting margins of the glans penis is known as corona glandis. Now at the neck, I already talked about the skin which enclosed the whole length of penis and terminates at the neck of the penis in various folds, which is called as the prepuce or the foreskin of the penis. अच्छा, एक वन मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट structure is there, that is the frenulum. You can see in the previous slide. Yes, this is frenulum. Frenulum is nothing but when you see the penis, this the body of the penis has two surfaces. This surface, the penis, this is the ventral surface, which is downwards or backwards. This is the ventral surface, which is downwards and backwards, and above it is the dorsal surface that faces forwards or upwards. So the ventral surface, at the ventral side or the undersurface of the glands, there is a median fold. This is the, देखो, at the midline or the median plane, there is the median fold, which is called as median fold of skin, which is called as frenulum. So if question of 2 marks is asked that what is frenulum, you have to write that frenulum is a median fold of skin which is found on the undersurface or the ventral surface of the penis. So this is all about body. And two more important thing, that the whole body is covered by two layers of fascia. The outermost is the superficial fascia of the penis. Yes, you can see this is the superficial fascia of the penis, the outer covering, which is generally loosely arranged areolar tissue, nothing but a loosely arranged areolar tissue, and there is no fat. There is no fat. It is completely devoid of fat. It contains some muscle fibers, but it has no fats. And the deepest layer, the deep fascia of the penis, also known as Buck's fascia. This is the deep fascia of the penis, or the Buck's fascia of the penis. It surrounds all the three masses. These two fascias surround all the three masses, erectile tissues. That is the one corpus spongiosum and the two corpus cavernosa. So that is all for the body of penis. Now talking about supports of penis, we have two ligament supports that holds the penis or supports the penis. The one is the fundiform ligament. This one is the fundiform ligament, which extends downwards from the linea alba. You can trace in this figure. Yes, fundiform ligament extend downwards from the linea alba and splits to enclose the body of the penis. You can trace. Yes, it splits to enclose the body of the penis. All the three erectile tissues, it encloses within this fundiform ligament. So this fundiform ligament extends from the linea alba and it splits or divides to enclose the penis. And the suspensory ligament, which lies deep from the fundiform ligament, the suspensory ligament lies deep to the fundiform ligament, and this suspensory ligament extends from the pubic symphysis. It extends from the pubic symphysis and bends below with the fascia on each side of the penis. So this is the suspensory ligament, which is deep to the fundiform ligament, and superficial to the suspensory ligament we have the fundiform ligaments, which extends from the linea alba and splits or divides into two to hold the penis. Now talking about arterial supply, the main artery which supplies the the erectile tissues or the internal tissues of the penis is the internal pudendal artery. And internal pudendal artery generally gives three important branches. The first one is the deep branch, or the here it is labeled as cavernosal artery. This one, the light one. This is the deep artery of the penis, or the cavernosal artery, which runs within the corpus cavernosum. So that is why it is labeled as cavernosal artery here. So cavernosal artery, or the deep artery of the penis, runs in the corpus cavernosum, and it breaks into arteries that follow the spiral course. It breaks into the arteries that follows the spiral course. Here you can see these are the helical, these are called as the helicine arteries. So these helicine arteries are the small branches from the deep artery or the cavernosal artery, which is a branch of internal pudendal artery. The second important branch of internal pudendal artery is the bulbar artery. Yes, the bulbar artery which supplies the bulb of the penis and as well as the proximal half part of the corpus spongiosum. The bulb and the proximal half of the corpus spongiosum is supplied by the bulbar artery or the artery of the bulb, which is a branch of internal pudendal artery. And the third is the dorsal artery of the penis. Yes, the dorsal artery of the penis, you can trace this big artery is along which is along the course, along the length of the penis, is the dorsal artery of the penis. This dorsal artery of the penis supplies the all, all three erectile tissues as well as glans penis and the distal parts of corpus spongiosum too. So proximal half is supplied by the proximal half of the corpus spongiosum is supplied by the bulbar artery, whereas the dorsal half is supplied by this dorsal artery of the penis. Now in this figure you can see the femoral artery also give one branch, that is superficial external pudendal artery, which basically supplies the skin and the fascias of the penis. So skin and the fascias, the superficial as well as the deep fascia or the buccal fascia of the penis is supplied by the superficial. Yes, here it is, it has a spelling mistake. It is written as superhelical. It is superficial external pudendal artery, and this superficial external pudendal artery is a branch of femoral artery. Venous drainage is in according of the corresponding arteries. So we have the superficial dorsal vein which drains the skin or fascias of the penis. This superficial dorsal vein will finally drain, this will divide into the two right and left branches and will drain into superficial external pudendal vein. Here superficial external pudendal vein is not visible in this figure, so you have to memorize that superficial dorsal vein drains the skin and the superficial fascia and deep fascia of the penis and finally drains into the superficial external pudendal veins. Talking about the deep dorsal vein, this is the deep dorsal vein, and this will drain into the prostatic plexus or the Santorni's plexus. Prostatic plexus is also called as Santorni's plexus, and the deep dorsal vein of penis will drain into the prostatic plexus or the Santorni's plexus. And other veins, that is the circumflex veins or the helicine veins, these will be draining into the prostatic plexus, and all the venous drainage is in correspondence or accordance with the arterial supply. So as the name of the veins, as the name of the arteries, so as the name of the वेन्स, जैसे ही जैसा कोर्स आर्टरीज का है, जैसा आप सप्लाई जो आर्टरीज से ब्रांचेस दे रहे हैं, जो मेजर आर्टरीज ब्रांचेस दे रही हैं, वैसे ही मेजर वेन्स में ड्रेन करेंगी करस्पॉन्डिंग वेन्स ऑफ द पीनिस. टॉकिंग अबाउट लिम्फेटिक्स, अगर लिम्फेटिक्स की बात करें तो लिम्फेटिक्स ऑफ द ग्लैंस पेनिस, बेसिकली इफ वी टॉक अबाउट द लिम्फेटिक ऑफ द ग्लैंस, दिस विल ड्रेन इनटू अ स्पेसिफिक deep inguinal lymph nodes known as Cloquet's node. Yes, Cloquet's node are a group of deep inguinal lymph nodes, and the glans penis, the lymph from the glans penis will drain into Cloquet's node, whereas lymphatics from the rest of the penis will finally drain into the superficial inguinal lymph nodes. Nerve supply, penis has the sensory as well as autonomic nerve supply, sympathetic as well as parasympathetic, both nerve fibers. Talking about the sensory nerve supply, so sensory nerve supply of the penis, you can trace the sensory nerve supply. This is the somatic sensory, green colored one. So this is the sensory nerve supply of the penis, that is through the dorsal nerve of the penis. Yes, this is the dorsal nerve of the penis. Yes, so dorsal nerve of the penis, and also the ilioinguinal nerve. Ilioinguinal nerve is not visible in this figure. So dorsal nerve of the penis will supply the sensory fibers, or sensory nerve supply of the penis is the dorsal nerve of the penis. And the muscles, the two muscles which we already discussed, that is the bulbocavernosus and the ischiocavernosus, these will be supplied by the branch of pudendal nerve. So the muscular branches of the penis are supplied by the perineal branch of the pudendal nerve. Now talking about the autonomic nerves will be derived from the pelvic plexus. Yes, the pelvic plexus via prostatic plexus, and as well as from the pudendal nerve. So ऑटोनॉमिक नर्व फाइबर्स जो हैं वो पेल्विक और नर्व प्लेक्सस और प्यूडेंटल नर्व दोनों से डिराइव हो रहे हैं, और पैरासिम्पैथेटिक एंड सिम्पैथेटिक बोथ नर्व फाइबर्स जो हैं वो यहाँ पे आपको देखने को मिल रहे हैं. द रेड वन इज द sympathetic nerve fiber and the blue one is the parasympathetic nerve fibers. The dotted one is the presynaptic and the blue lines are the postsynaptic parasympathetic. The sympathetic nerve fibers, these generally play the role of vasoconstrictors. These are the vasoconstrictors. And the parasympathetic nerve fibers, which basically derives from the pelvic plexus, that is S2, S3, S4, root values will be S2, S3, S4. These are generally vasodilators. So when in physiology you will study the reproductive system, then you will get to know about the mechanism of erection of penis, which is in the nervous control, as well as the amount of blood which flows within the penis will lead to the erection. So you will study in detail all about the mechanism of erection of penis in physiology. Now talking about clinical anatomy, so four important clinical conditions that you must remember in case of penis. The first one is the phimosis, which is nothing but an inability to move the foreskin back over the glans penis. So this condition is very common in children, and if 2 marks question is asked what is phimosis, then you have to write it is an inability. It is a condition in which the patient or the subject has an inability to move the foreskin back over the glans penis. The second one is the penile fracture, which occurs generally when the penis is erect in condition and is excessively bent, and during that fracture you can hear cracking sound. Cracking sound may not be present in every case, but in some cases you can hear a cracking sound, and intolerable severe pain is felt by the patient. Erectile dysfunction is very common complaint or disease condition in males. Erectile dysfunction is the inability to develop or maintain an erection which is sufficient for satisfactory copulation. So erectile dysfunction is very common, and you will study this in detail in pathology as well as gynecology and obstetrics in the under the chapter infertility and sterility. The last one is the priapism. Priapism is painful condition in which the erect penis does not return to its flaccid state. So this condition, if erect penis does not return to its flaccid state, it will be very painful, as well as it can be potentially harmful. So these four disease conditions should be remembered by you, because frequently it can be asked in 2 marks question. So that is all for today. We will start with the scrotum as well as testis in the next video lecture. Till then, stay home, stay healthy, and take care.